folks. Welcome to another date on Journalist Hangout. It's day number 33 into the Lenten season, so we have 7 more days to go. Welcome. Now, this week, I'm hanging out with my colleagues Kolade, Babatunde Kolade Otitojo. I've told you, abbreviate this name, but it's all right, it's all right. Jide, I greet you.
That's why you are moderning my name every day.
No, I'm not.
Give me BKO.
And Charles Idaho, we know.
Thank you.
Okay then, but seriously, let's tell you, this evening, Bill Gates picks holes in federal government's economic plan, urges more investment in education, health, even as Governor El Rufai disagrees. Mayor Laye's recall process begins April 28, and later on, Buhari vows to secure release of Christian Dapchi girl still with Boko Haram. I've told you about my colleagues. We are ready to go. I hope you are. All right then, American business magnate and author Bill Gates found time to be amongst us. His keynote speech during a special session of the National Economic Council held at the old banquet hall of the presidential Villa Abuja captured the essence of life and living in our country. Invest more in education and health and all else will fall in place, the American industrialist advised. Kola, Jide, come on. Jide, let's tell you the setting was very correct. Yes. The number 2 man in the country was there, and of course, all 36 state governors in attendance. So he picked his crowd and picked the moment.
Yes, and he picked the right message. I'm particularly happy with Bill Gates because there's no Nigerian alive who has spent money saving the lives of Nigerians as much as Bill Gates. He has spent in excess of $1 billion intervening in different parts of our country, intervening through insecticide-treated nets, through vaccines,
fighting malaria,
vaccines for polio, vaccines even for meningitis.
Yeah.
You know, so he's really been doing a lot trying to keep our people alive. So if anyone has spent as much money as Bill Gates has spent on Nigerians, that person has the right to be able to look into the face of another person and tell him the truth. And the truth is, human capital is more important than anything. And he made it clear. He's not saying, look, don't invest in infrastructure. Because the people who have taken to social media, some of them abusing Bill Gates in a real demonstration of idiocy, are not looking at the fact that
missing
he said,
the message.
Yes, he said, invest simultaneously in human capital and infrastructure. That's what he wants. Because he explained that, look, if you do not have skilled workers, the industries, you won't have the right people to run the industries. And you need to run those industries to even sustain your country. You know, so if we don't, today, if you are building a house and you need people who lay tiles for you, Nigerians go as far as Benin Republic to get people. A lot of our people who ought to be trained or who are even trained to be able to lay tiles and other things, they've taken to riding Okada. Some of them, you know what they do now? They dig boreholes. I know people in my neighborhood who have certain skills with which they could put food on their table. Today, they've resorted to either riding Okada or digging boreholes because they think...
Or riding kabu-kabu.
Or driving tricycle. Or keke napep or marwa, as we call them here in Lagos. The skills that they took that it took them years to learn, they frittered. So when other countries invest in human capital, it's not because they are fools. It's because they know that they are going to benefit tremendously many years down the line.
Road. Charles, otherwise, Bill Gates is telling us what we had always known but never found the courage to say it. He's saying dividends of democracy do not just start and stop at fixing roads, infrastructure, and so on. Because he's saying something very grim here. Nigeria is one of the most dangerous places in the world to give birth, with the fourth worst maternal mortality rate.
At 50, how
53 years.
When in Japan,
life expectancy?
You have about people over 100. While they are looking for death has abandoned them, and death has come to Africa.
Come on.
They have a higher
I don't know where you got
rate.
that from.
No, they have probably the highest suicide rate in the world.
Japan, you have people over 100, they're looking for death.
Oh, highest suicide rate on the...
Yes, in Japan, people jump to there. They know they have skyscrapers.
So they must pay for living too long in life.
That's part of it. But why death has abandoned them? Death has come to Africa. So, but on a more serious note, Bill Gates was invited to the National Economic Council, and then he was asked to speak, to give a lecture. Now, and then we must also remember
the theme, role of human capital,
that's
investment
exactly
in supporting pro-poor.
That's what I was trying to say.
Poor.
So you gave him this. Come and speak about this. And first of all, Bill Gates is not a Nigerian politician. He's not a PDP member to say,
He doesn't know what is politically correct.
So he's not a PDP member to say, he wants to rubbish what the APC is doing currently.
He's not an APC man to suddenly turn himself to a hailer.
or a whaler, whatever they call them. So I don't know why El-Rufai is talking about. If El-Rufai, for me, even why he was speaking.
We haven't quite got there. Let's look at it.
The thing is that what Bill Gates has said, I think the federal government should take this home as a message to say, this thing coming from offshore.
Because for me, underscoring the essence of making the people healthy and educated, very key.
Good. I was sometime in 2006, I was at Alu community in the River State to interview Elechi Amadi, Toast for Supper.
The writer,
That's what the man told me. He said, look, any country that will not educate its citizenry is doomed to fail. And he told me that while Nigeria in 1914, while Lord Lugard and Ferrer Shaw were thinking with the name to give to Nigeria, Japan was already implementing a policy of free and compulsory education. Today, we know where Japan is. Take a look at even China. Look at how much they have invested in human capital development. Look at how they are reaping it. I don't think there's any home in Nigeria today, even offices, you can't find the Chinese trademark.
Chinese products.
You can't. I don't think there's any. Why? Because
imagine
they invested.
The current trade war between America and
China. So they invested. Is it Germany? So why countries are thinking of, even as we speak now, Dubai is thinking of building an ICT city on Mars in the year 2035 or so. Dubai, as we speak, we are talking about how to build 19 mosques, about how your state is going to build a 10,000 capacity worship center in Akwa Ibom. People are thinking of how to build ICT center on Mars. Yes. Then you say what Bill Gates has said is demarketing the government.
Our industrial warehouses are being taken over by churches.
But by churches. So,
and allied groups.
An allied group.
Yeah. GD, look at this. I said the setting was right and you concord. Look at states in the north are not at par with the states in the south in terms of cutoff marks, education-wise now, national common entrance and so on. Yes. I thought the message, they said the medium is the message. The message, I hope, went, the message got home with the governors, mostly from the north there. Education. Educate your people.
See, the message sank home. not just with the El-Rufais of this world, because each and every one of them in that hall was guilty. No matter what they
By association.
they were guilty. And the way to look at it is look at how much, even at the federal level, look at how much we've invested, we've allocated to education in the budget. The budgetary allocation to education, the budgetary allocation to health.
It's a very critical.
We had a situation in which, I think 2 years ago, a library had much more money allocated to it than health, the health sector. So what the man is, what is not difficult to see clearly what the man's message. If you are in doubt, just look at in the last 10 years how much we have allocated to health and
To
education in our budgets. I remember interviewing the former EFCC chairman, Nuri Badu, in 2006. And he was telling me, because Nuri Badu is from Adamawa State, and he was telling me that in his state, in his local government especially, that people travel as far as Cameroon to receive Medicare. And he told me of one of his relations, I think his nephew, who was ill and had to be ferried across the border to Cameroon to receive Medicare. It's something that Nigerian leaders should be ashamed of. That people will have to go across the border. It's so bad that Cameroon is where our people go to.
Specifically talked about the primary education,
Primary
which is key here.
Yes. You see, primary health care is the responsibility of state government. That is the point. Because when I read what El-Rufai said, I didn't see him really succeeding in discountenancing what Bill Gates said.
But he also gave figures.
He only contradicted himself by saying, look, this thing should actually be spread to the state. That what the federal government is doing should actually be taken up by the state governments. Meaning that, look, the federal government can do a little. The states must invest more in education and health. And he was trying to defend some states that some states are investing more.
26%.
There are very few. He can only talk about his state and maybe one or two states that he is familiar with what goes on there. There are very few states in Nigeria allocating more than 20% to education. I know that the Katsina governor has been doing that consistently, maybe like 25, 26%. But
which is commendable.
Yes, but states would rather spend more money on other things, security and all that. Yet, we are far from being secure as a people. You know, even right from the Shagari era, we've been spending so much money on defense, even in peacetime. To match, I think it was once during Goodluck Jonathan's time, that we matched the UNESCO ceiling.
Ceiling, 26%.
Yes, for education. We find it difficult to do 16%. We find it difficult to do it. So how can our people, if we can't invest in the education of our people, how can we expect that we will build genuine leaders of tomorrow? What will just be building are Yahoo boys?
Yes,
people who can't defend their certificates. People can't defend their certificates. And when you even look at these schools, what is the quality of infrastructure even in these schools? Even the roads, because where I think that this thing has to be done simultaneously. We must invest in roads. There's no doubt about it. The roads leading to some of those schools, if the roads leading to those schools are not good enough, the children will die on their way to school. So the message is a very good one.
Charles, but El-Rufai was not necessarily dismissing what Bill Gates said. He was trying to tell you, look, we understand what our gentleman, the visitor says, but there are constraints.
But you see, the thing is that when I also read through what everybody said, what he said is he was speaking like if he's being futuristic. Yes, we know we ought to do this because UN said we're supposed to have about 25% for this, 26% for education, 60% for health, but that his state is already doing 16.1%.
Yeah.
The state have been doing 35% for education for the past 2 years.
Plus.
For now.
Yeah.
He said we know we do that. But I don't know why he now said that what Bill Gates said is wrong. Because if you call somebody who come, this is economic summit. And we're always talking about how you are, okay, look at the team. The role of human capital investment in supporting people. Talk about it. You are from a jurisdiction that has seen it all. A jurisdiction that has given much to education, that has given much to human capital. Come and tell us how it's done. And this man is not speaking based on sentiments. He is speaking from the point of somebody who is well informed.
A successful entrepreneur.
He has. Okay, take a look at how much has committed into our economy. I mean, he has nothing to gain per se. I'm just looking at it that way. So I would rather the government will sit down to say, okay, let's harness all this in this matter and talk about how to do it.
I think that's what the vice president eventually said.
Good. But so that's what I'm saying. So, but you see, the education I'm talking about now. Do you know I was in the village some time ago, long ago. A child we taught.
Whose village?
My village.
Okay,
I was in my village or my town.
Yeah.
My town was a
He has upgraded it to town now.
As my town anyway.
Because some viewers may not be happy. He has upgraded.
So there's a very smart young about 7-year-old boy who came. He was telling grandma, grandma, let me go with you to the farm to go and pluck yam. And but you don't pluck yam. You don't. So this boy thought yam grows from the trees.
Yeah.
What does that tell you about education? If we had a good curriculum, we're talking about good, that child ought to have been told the difference between tubers, which you uproot from the belly of the soil, and fruit, which grow on trees.
Yeah.
But this boy said he wanted to follow grandma to go pluck yam. That's to tell you that we're not taking education seriously in this school.
It's a two-way street.
Nigeria.
We need teacher training colleges, Colade and Charles.
Yes.
Because
We
they
used to have them.
be.
We used to have
now
them.
you are wondering who
Pivotal,
will
the rest of
teach.
them.
Who will teach the teachers?
Yes. The truth is, the quality of instruction is even much more important than the quality of the building where those children will receive instruction. When you can't blame those who are setting exams for teachers. They started it in Kwara State, and they saw that was Mbolaji Abdullahi, the APC spokesman, when he was commissioner in Kwara. He set the same exam for teachers and pupils. And pupils passed, and many of the teachers failed. So it became
That's
clear.
more like a Nollywood script.
No,
But it's
you
real.
think, but it's reality. It's not fiction. Because my parents are based in Kwara, and I know all these things. So at the end of the day, it became clear to him that, look, this is where the problem is.
There's a problem.
We must do something about the quality of instruction that our children get. So they had to start working on that. That was when Bukola Saraki was governor. The little man who is the governor of Kaduna State is trying to do the same thing. I'm happy that he's even trying to extend it to secondary school now. Because in my view, states must
So
invest.
we are gradually coming to terms with what he did the other time.
Yes, I'm saying that I'm 100% in support of it if the process is good. The quality of instruction
It's key.
is key. You can't get the right products from those schools if the quality of instruction is not good enough.
Yeah.
So we must invest in training and retraining of teachers. And the teaching profession should no longer be for the people who cannot find any other job elsewhere. It shouldn't be for...
It should be a
for
vocation.
drop-out.
Yeah,
Exactly.
It shouldn't be for, how do I describe them, for births of passage. It shouldn't be for births of passage. It should be for the best. In those days in the university, when you score a first class, they will retain you as a graduate assistant.
Yeah.
So in my view, only the best should be good enough to teach in our schools. Otherwise, we can't invest all the money we have on education.
I wonder what our governors, I'm sorry, would have thought when the message came, look, education, health, and I go back to the just released school certificate WAEC results,
but the failure,
which, over 73% failure. That's it's key. It's key.
But the thing, I can imagine how they were feeling. They must have been feeling very uneasy.
Some of them are no longer paying WAEC fees.
Yes.
You know, schools,
they used to do that.
State governments are supposed to pay WAEC fees.
That's right.
It became a tradition.
It became a tradition.
But some of those states, you know, WAEC announced that some states were owing them. When WAEC threatened that it was going to release the list of states owing them, some governors quickly called that, don't embarrass us. Please,
you have invited callers, and so they are here. From Kano, we have Mukhtar. Mukhtar, good evening. How are you?
Good evening, Mr. Gide and Charles. How are you doing?
Yeah,
thank you.
Let me contribute. I really concur with the statement made by Bill Gates. He is right. But the problem is here. Whenever there is an allocation to education, who are the people to implement or to spend that budget? That is one area. Because if you don't have qualified teachers, how much you invest will be useless. And the second and most important is security. No matter how educated and healthy people are, the human capital are, if there is no security, if there is no peace, there will be no meaningful development. But I think another key is to add to the security issue, because it's very fundamental as far as Nigeria is concerned today. And the introduction of teachers' colleges, which we have lost for so many years, which led to the decay in education. Nigeria over and the NCE, I think made us 10 steps backward, which is very, very important. I attended teachers' college. I know the importance of teachers' college, and now we have, we have just put it aside. And I think if we can break it down in education and health, the issue of security must be included. Thank you.
Thank you. That teacher training.
Apart from that, what about technical schools too? I mean, there were technical schools.
Let's make a meal of what Mukhtar has said.
Exactly.
Yes, security, but again, educate the people. They know their rights. You can't slave drive them.
Exactly. But again, when you also look at it.
But what do I mean? So if a Boko Haram comes to tell you, educating your child is
wrong, but you will query. You have to query it. You have to also investigate, also interrogate. What am I going to gain if I'm not educated? But because education has been taken away from them, you have substituted what they have with yours. So you are imposing your own will upon them, and you have taken away from them the right to think.
And
that's what
they become dogmatic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it becomes dogma. So, but when people have been trained, you see that you have reformed their mind, you have reformed their thinking process. Then their psyche cannot walk over time. So when you come there with a different view, they can query it and interrogate to say no.
Did they take us back there? Teacher training colleges were, avant-garde institutions in those days. Teachers were very proud to be so-called.
Yes. Teachers, the teaching profession teachers were like stars in those days when we were growing up. They were seen as more important, more respected even than bankers and people in other professions. It was a thing of pride. And
the headmaster was coming to visit your parents.
Oh, that was something.
You roll out the red carpet.
Yeah.
And at that time too, teachers also put their own children in the best schools. And what were the best schools? The unity schools. Because I remember that even Shagari, as president of Nigeria, his children were in Federal Government College in Ilorin.
Oh, really?
Yes, I remember.
You didn't have to take them abroad?
Yes, because I remember that Shagari, even the children had an accident.
Yes.
If you remember.
Yeah.
They were coming from Federal Government College in Ilorin.
Yeah.
And the big people too. Big people, service chiefs and the rest, their children were in unity schools.
A cynical question would be, so what happened?
So now, the unity schools today don't even talk about them. In fact, the infrastructure has collapsed. The children are not looked after the right way. Someone was telling me that even food meant for them people steal food meant for these children. So the quality of the unity schools have gone down. Remember that one in Lagos here?
Was it
where
deliberate?
cholera was killing people?
Yeah. Was
No,
it deliberate?
I will not say it's deliberate, but one thing we all know is that in the last 20, 30 years, everything has gone steadily down in our country. Everything.
But I think it's deliberate.
And
I think it's deliberate.
Because it couldn't, the things couldn't have gone down deliberately of itself.
That's why I believe it's deliberate.
That's why I'm not, when I said they've gone down, I'm not apportioning blames. I'm just talking about the reality. Things in various sectors of our national life, we can see decline. Decline has happened in the last 30 years.
Sorry, Jide.
From the mid-80s.
Peter is here from Kaduna. How do you do, sir?
Good evening, sir.
Welcome.
Yeah, you guys are doing a nice job.
Thank you.
I want to contribute to the topic you are treating.
Okay, then.
Education is the bedrock of the nation, of the youth. And I am happy that Brigade is inculcating this with this government so that they know that we need school and health. These are the basic things we need. And I pray that God will help them that we implement it, not all about the summit, but they should be able to implement the summit. Thank you. My regards to Babajide.
I agree too.
All right.
So the teacher training schools are no longer there. Suddenly, teaching became unfashionable in our country.
Yeah.
You don't even want to be associated with teachers anymore. Which is wrong.
Even at a time
Shagari,
when,
our president,
Was a school teacher.
was a school teacher, a grade 2 teacher.
However, what we're told also a school teacher.
People like
Yaradua and Jonathan, teachers.
yes, Yaradua was chemistry teacher in ABU, you know. So because education, I remember this Professor Tanemu of ABU saying education encourages disputation. Because when I'm educated, if someone tells me this is brain, this is brain, I will say no.
No, that's it.
So we can't develop the right people with superior intellect if we do not do something about the education and the quality of education that we give people. So we need to return to those teacher training schools because teachers need special skills to give the best in these classrooms.
Just take it home because we must pass over
My own
now.
is that we will have to do, first of all, let's bring back the teachers training college where we can teach right instructors. Then we also have to go back to this of technical education where people, plumbing will be taught, people will be taught to be electronic technicians.
And be self-reliant.
So that people, our curricula is also faulty. Everything is being taught in theory. When people are out of school, people who are being taught computer sciences, they've not seen computer in their lives.
Okay, then. Again, as we always say, the debate continues. Ours is just to articulate the positions, allow you to make up your mind. Still to come, Melaye's recall process begins April 28th. You want to stay with us? All right, then. In 2013, the attempt to recall one Mrs. Hembadun Amina, representing Katsina Ala West State Constituency in Benue State, resulted in a civil unrest which engulfed that part of town. The process was truncated. A decisively indicative test, if you like, a litmus test for INEC, has been fixed for April 28th, involving the senator representing Kogi West, Dino Melaye. The appeal court cleared the way for the acid test. Now, Jide, no recall process had ever been conclusive in this country.
Yes.
So it's like climbing a mountain now.
Yeah. It's, I recall that of Ibrahim Mantu during the Obasanjo years. Mantu would easily have been recalled. His people did not want him. They were tired of him because of his role in the legal state of emergency that Obasanjo imposed.
Had they removed Dareye?
Yes, the state of emergency, you know, with an antiquated law, a law that no longer existed. Obasanjo got away with it. And they felt that Mantu waged a war against his own people. So they moved against him. They got all those signatures, but INEC, during Maurice Iwu decided to play the spoiler. Because it is INEC. If INEC wants these things to succeed, it will succeed.
Yes, exactly.
It has the power of verification. You can gather 1 million signatures.
They don't verify it.
If they say, oh, from our verification, this thing is a sham.
It's dead.
That means it's dead on arrival. So that's the INEC is key in the success of this. I am convinced that if INEC had been even-handed at that time, if INEC had not been biased, Ibrahim Mantu would have been successfully recalled.
You've forgotten also Solomon Dalong, who was speaker then. The same process, but the same.
But also was also targeted. Yes.
INEC has a lot to do in this case. In the case of Dino, it's a little complicated. If Dino had not succeeded in getting the court to apply the brakes, at that time, at the time when those people came out, there was a groundswell of anger against him. He had offended people. Remember, he had insulted Tinubu's wife and all that. It wasn't far away from the period when he made that reckless statement about Mrs. Tinubu. So many people felt, look, it's time to put this guy where he belongs. But between then and now, so many things have changed. Between that time and now, a lot of water has passed
under the bridge, but it has not washed away the bridge.
No, it won't wash away the bridge.
Okay.
It won't wash away the bridge. Between that, at that time, the governor of Kogi State sent his aides who are from that area, that constituency, Kogi West, to their constituency and told them to mobilize the people. People were given bags of rice, mobilize them to vote, to get those signatures against
Which
Dino.
was not proper.
Even in Dino's hometown of Ayetoro, people came out. I have the video of people coming out to take signatures because it's not particularly popular in his hometown. He fights the king, he insults people. But Dino lately has become more popular in that area because he continues to complain that the governor doesn't pay people salaries, and his message resonates with many people.
No less so the teachers.
Yeah, people who are being owed salary, you find them, you will be the first to come out to say, no, there's misrule in Kogi, this governor is doing this governor is doing that. So you now find that even those opposed to him politically, since they've seen clearly that his message appears to resonate with the ordinary people, they are holding back. Someone like Faleke, for example, should be publicly fighting Dino. But I'm not sure you see him do that now because he will not want to do anything that will go against the grain. So I'm not quite...
To rock a boat?
Yes, he will not want to do anything that will hurt his own base. So I'm not quite sure that this effort to recall him can succeed at this time because so many months have passed. So things have changed a little bit.
But you also told us why so many months went. Charles, a cynic, said, when I saw the topic and I broached it with him, he said, recalling an elected official in Nigeria is more like creating a state in Nigeria.
Yeah, because
tedious.
Because there are
Is it really?
Yes, there are about 10 processes. And each of those 10 processes,
no, there are 10. 30.
No, there are about 10. No, you have sub. You now have sub. But there are 10 major processes. Each of them will have A1, A2, and so on and so on. So they are too cumbersome. But I also wouldn't want to blame the framers of the Constitution who, in their wisdom, saw it that it might engender instability in the system if they had made the processes very easy. Today, you recall somebody, you put somebody back there, you are not happy with the recall again. So, just like in China it's very easy to recall a deputy. I mean, deputy just like councillors. The man, you don't like his face, you just rally people and then you take him off. It's not only that, even in Oregon, it's where we copy our...
No, it's not in the American Constitution, we agree,
but
we
in some states,
yeah.
like in about 10 states, not 10 states in America. For instance, in Oregon, you can even also recall a judge, not only
which is saying it is germane to determine that a particular elected official is against the people?
Yeah, the thing is that the reason why we should, or not we should, the reason why I personally want this thing to go its entire course, so that we can give power back to the people. Because the way we are having the electors,
power in the hands of
it's not the people. Because the way we are seeing it now is that the elected officers, they are riding roughshod over all of us. They get away with whatever they do because they know the process is so cumbersome. So it's like they are spitting in our faces.
Once an example is made of one of them,
all of them
they will sit up. They will sit up.
If he successfully recalled Dino Melaye, which I hope he go, I don't hate him, I don't like him, but it's the
You
my
haven't
process.
said anything there.
It's
Come on.
the
It's just
process.
it's just indifferent. So it's just indifferent.
It's the
It's
process.
saying the
It's
middle.
the process.
It's playing
Play
the middle.
Yes.
Jide, but Melaye is headed for the Supreme Court. So it's...
Which means that this process will also be stopped, even at this stage.
Yes.
You know, could be stopped.
With the
But
date?
It depends.
If it's fast enough.
He's saying
kept
that,
in
look,
abeyance.
I've notified them, I've gone to the Supreme Court. When they wanted to serve him the notice, he ran away.
He left, but they
He
don't.
ran away.
They
So
don't
they placed
Ghana must go.
Ghana must go.
And Breeze
They
no
put,
blow.
they put,
No, they did at
put
the
those
door.
bags. They put those bags,
The man
bags
don't
containing
receive
those
it.
signatures. They put
At the
them
door.
at his door. You see, if you are, and he's been saying that he trusts his constituency and all that, he trusts his constituents and all that. If you trust them so much, why are you running away? Why not allow the process to run its course?
Exactly.
Why did you use
I'm
the
recalling
courts?
what you said earlier on, Jide, that his hometown, his townspeople are becoming favorably disposed to him.
No,
So
it's
how do we
not, I'm not even
reconcile
saying.
that?
No,
See,
you're
at
talking
that
about
time,
then and
at
now,
that
then
time,
and
I
now.
said,
Then
I
and
said
now.
between that time and now.
What has changed?
That's
A
why,
lot.
you see, in politics, that's why sometimes people ask, do you know that even during the last election, why do you think the PDP postponed the election? Because if the election had been conducted at that time, it would have been a rout. But they used that postponement to buy more time, and it ended up a close race. Probably the closest in Nigerian history, the closest
That was when they
presidential
were
election.
regaining
They were able to
territories.
now, they were able now to reach more people.
Yes.
And it became, I think Buhari won with only 4 percentage points.
Yeah.
So they were able to close the
close
gap.
the
It was
gap.
clear. So, so in this case too, that time afforded him,
You are envisaging a closing of the gap.
yeah, that time afforded him more time to warm himself into the hearts of the people.
All right.
And get them to say, look, he's persecuting me because I'm fighting for you.
Gentlemen, Shegun in Abuja has his perspectives. Shegun, welcome. Okay, I hear the call is off.
So, but let me also add this. Sorry,
Yeah.
let me quickly add this. That
Go on.
the part of the process is that you will have to identify
Your signature.
And
I'm wondering how
get
all
all
of
these
those
people together. So each of them, Joseph, you sign this, come on.
Will they show up? Will they all show up?
Papa Jide, do you sign the chance? How many people will show up to
How
go
many
and
of them
own up
will
to this?
They can even be intimidated to not show up.
Exactly. So that's why I said I also believe in that
It's
the
just-
passage of time may have whittled down the
No,
power
because he will have, see, Dino offended many people
at that time.
in his constituency, including the motor boys and the roughnecks that he used to make use of. He may have used this time to reach out to some of
Exactly,
those
to assuade
people.
to
So
assuade
it's a long time. He knew why he had to use the court
to buy time.
to apply brakes on the process. So during that time, he has also reached out. But I'm not saying that he can't be recalled, though.
But let's watch out. Because it's only 51%.
Okay.
Only 51% is required.
Let's hear what.
51% is a
Yes.
lot.
Let's
It's a
hear
lot.
Obi. Let's hear Obi now. What has he to say? Welcome, Obi. You are in Lagos here.
Yeah, good evening.
I greet you, sir.
How are you?
We're fine.
We are
thanks.
fine. Let's go.
Okay, Baba Jad. Salam alaikum.
Amin alaikum assalam.
Wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Gulu Kwais.
Eh?
So a quick one, please. A very quick one.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, about Dino Melaye. Honestly speaking, I'm not trying to bring him down. Honestly speaking, for the past 2.5 years, I've not seen much impact Dino Melaye has made in the red chamber
Are you from his
for
constituency?
his people and for Nigerians. So if they decide to recall him, I think it will send a good signal. Thank you very much, and thanks for doing a good job.
Thanks.
All right
But
then.
let's
All
tell
right.
him that Junior is not representing Nigeria. He represents a
represents-
section.
And he has succeeded.
Section.
He has even
West.
succeeded in bringing a federal university.
Oh, down to,
in,
okay,
in
so.
upgrading a school to a federal university.
So are you saying this will not work for him?
So you see, the thing is,
How can you
know
get
how many people see
51%?
these things?
I mean,
Many people see these things as, look, it's just a battle between two
Two
never
gladiators.
do wells.
But
And a
when
lot
they
of
say
them.
Governor-
two elephants, when two elephants fight.
These
this-
guys-
this
these
is
guys-
grass.
this
This
is
is
a
grass.
battle.
This is
It's a battle of two political Lilliputians. It's not a battle of elephants.
yeah.
Both of them.
That's his word.
Both of them. You know, I know them. At least they both come from my former state.
Yeah.
I know them very well. Political Lilliputians.
Just ignore
A
him.
battle.
Okay.
A battle between two political Lilliputians can go either way.
Anyway, yes.
yeah.
Can go either way.
Especially when you are looking for 51%. When you conduct the referendum by, May's time, if it says true,
They stop.
51% is not, it will be difficult to achieve.
Listen and please don't foreclose the matter. You are not INEC.
Well, it's good.
Let's
well,
get to the
okay,
bridge
let's get there.
and
I will cross it. Okay.
Nobody should tell me that we are a nascent democracy. Otherwise, the question would be, for how long more must we remain in the classroom? Okay, we go to our last subject matter for the evening after this break. Okay then, for little Miss Leah Sharibu, hope becomes a veritable commodity. Hope that she, like her soulmates, would regain her freedom from her Boko Haram captors. A report we cannot independently verify says she is held back because she refuses to be an apostate that renounce her faith. President Muhammadu Buhari says it is his responsibility to secure her release, no matter what, Jide.
The president's responsibility is to protect lives and property. That's the most important responsibility of the president. And I dare say that I align totally with the Residents Association in Dapchi, who have told the president that if this girl is not brought back home, then their joy cannot be complete. Already we've lost 5 of those girls, you know. That's bad enough.
Needlessly.
That's bad enough. When young people die needlessly in this way, many people will question the government and ask themselves whether the government is really alive to its responsibilities or protecting people. That's right. If terrorists can be attacking schools and be taking away children and kill the ones that they like, look, if we bring back more than 1/3 of those that they took away, our jubilation will be needless. That's right. We should only be able to jubilate when we can be sure that everybody has been brought back home, you know, alive. In this case, we've not been able to bring all of them back. And we have someone being kept against her wish. Because the father has granted an interview.
Nathan.
Clearly, the girls who were abducted with her provided this piece of information, you know, which I don't have any reason to doubt. That she was told to renounce her faith, and she said, no, I will not renounce my faith. I've always said that these Boko Haram people, they are not even Muslims in the first place, because Quran chapter 2, verse 256 says clearly that there is no compulsion in religion.
You can't impose your religion.
So if the Quran says clearly that there is no compulsion in religion, where did you take your own doctrine or trying to force Islam on people? Where did you take it from? That means yours is not derived from the Quran, because Quran is the holy book for Muslims. So the president must do whatever it takes. They have to go back to the negotiation table, use all the people that they used that first time, appeal to these guys. After all, Aisha Wakil says that these people promise not to maltreat these guests, that they will take good care of them. So if you keep someone against her wish because she chooses not to become a Muslim, is that not maltreatment? So nobody should expect decent behavior from terrorists. All we can do all I want this government to do is to exterminate these terrorists, because we cannot continue even to do deals with people who are indecent, who cannot even explain their actions. They are mad people.
Charles, mine is this, and I want to behave like the bus stop analyst, or if you like, critic. Can we sit here at this table and say categorically that the 105 girls that were released are today Muslims? Do you see the logic?
Well, the thing is that religion just reared its head into it along the line. We know that the Boko Haram insurgents had always wanted to impose their own type, their brand of Islam to people.
I hope you got where I'm coming from.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, for instance, now it is because of this Leah Sharibu that is coming up. I mean, when they got the Chibok girls, we didn't talk about religion.
Yeah.
When these girls were also adopted, religion didn't come, if not because this issue of wanting to impose religion upon this girl that is bringing all these ones. We're talking about how to impose their own type. Talking about the renouncement of what's the name? Education, Western education. That's exactly, and they are succeeding. Westernization, and they are succeeding.
They even told that they were campaigning to them in the town.
They came. They said we're there. They were
don't send your children back to that school.
They are succeeding if you will. So, but what I want, thankfully, the president has said that he will stop at nothing. He also has said what Jide said, that the true Muslims will not impose their religion upon anybody. I want the president to go the way of Israel. Israel will not go to sleep. They can even negotiate the release of a corpse. If a corpse, if any soldier is felled by anybody,
they did it with Hamas for one Israeli soldier.
Not even a dead soldier or any dead Israeli. 1,000 to just secure the release of even a corpse. So the president can go the whole hog,
and that infuses a sense of nationalism in the Israeli.
Or the value of the human life to the government. Because America will go will do anything to make sure that whoever is held behind the enemy line is brought back. So the president, as he said, he must walk his talk.
He has to do that.
He has to do it.
Jide, but let's look at the boring commentary that's following this thing. You know, what we as opinion leaders say at a time like this is critical.
Yeah.
The commentary that will follow, this because she has refused to renounce her faith, blah, blah, blah. The commentary that follows, this is what is key.
You see, that is what emanated from and we cannot totally discount it. The girl who spoke to the press was the one who told us that 5 died. We have seen now that it is true that 5 died.
Exactly.
That same girl narrated how they were taken away, how many days they spent before they got to their final destination. So I have absolutely no doubt that this girl was right.
So he does not hurry off. Suraj is here from Kaduna. Suraj, how do you do? Good evening.
Hello, good evening. How are you?
I'm fine, and you?
Fine, thank you.
Yeah, let's go.
You see, on that matter, if I'm one of the advisors of the president, being a Muslim, I will not even collect the remaining children without that girl.
Oh.
That's the first issue.
Fantastic,
Very
Suraj.
good. Very
God bless you, Suraj.
That's the most important thing. Because presently now, that can even divide the people of the country.
That's it.
Because as a Christian now, how will they believe the president? If all the people is Christian because of her faith.
Yeah.
No matter what it takes the government, they should try as much as possible to bring her back as soon as possible. Thank you.
Fantastic.
All right. Yeah.
This is how I want people
Fantastic,
to
because it's going to divide the country.
Underscores what I said earlier.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
The commentary after this event, especially at a time like this.
And you cannot discountenance it, as she has said. Because first of all, you have released about 104 who we are told are Muslim. Then one Christian girl is
No. We are told renounce
their faith, and they have now converted to the Islamic faith. But only one girl who has become...
What did that? They said amongst them that girl is a Christian.
Yes.
And she has chosen
not to. That's why I'm saying that because she's still being held back behind enemy line.
But she's not the only Christian there in the park.
But no, but we don't have report
I don't
right
have
now.
the-
What we have now is that she's the only one who is a Christian. But
I have every reason to believe what that girl said.
What I'm saying that because she's being held behind enemy line right now, the whole thing is going to divide the country into this issue of religion. Oh, if it's a Muslim girl that was held behind with the president, do you understand what I'm saying now? So that's why the president must do everything possible to be the father of every Nigerian, whether Christian or Muslim, and then do the needful to ensure that it works.
Suraj
Very, very fantastic.
Sometimes our leaders make mistakes. Suraj made a very valid point. The negotiation should have been to have all of them released.
Yeah.
Without leaving leaving anyone behind.
That's right.
So, not succeeding in that is a minus. It's a failure on the part of government. It should have brought everybody back. The negotiation should have continued up to the point when we could be guaranteed of the release of everyone. These guys they've caused the death of five people already.
Yeah.
And then we took 104 and left one behind.
Why? That should have been part of the
It should have been part of them. And you cannot. I've seen some people blame the girl that the girl should have pretended that she had become this. Imagine this is a young girl, for example.
15.
Some of the people in that crowd, among the girls they took away, were as young as 10 years.
That's right.
And you want them to be able to reason like full-grown adults. I mean, it makes no sense. Even if she made the mistake, this is not the time to blame people for sticking to their faith.
Well, it's not even a mistake. Even the Bible says that
if they see it as a mistake.
It said, train up a child the way he should go, so that when he or she grow, he will not depart. It think that the child has been sunk into her.
The father has even said, I'm proud of her.
What has been sunk into her, she has not departed. That's the way I see it. So we should rather vilify the girl. We should rather be.
You know why I'm not surprised? You know why I'm not surprised about this? This Al-Banawi faction. From August 2016, when ISIS recognized it, I read the speech, the write-up by Al-Banawi himself, where he said he fell out with Shekau because Shekau was killing fellow Muslims. He said there should be no reason to kill fellow Muslims, but kill Christians, kill soldiers, kill policemen. That's what they're after.
And that tells you we're facing a graver danger.
When
there's a split among the ranks.
Yes, exactly.
But this call is coming from across the seas. Aliu is in Dublin. We welcome you. Welcome, sir.
Hello, sir. How are you doing, sir?
I'm fine, and you?
Straight to the point. Last caller who called in from Kaduna or so, and the contribution you gave there that the president shouldn't have collected those girls without a proper negotiation. Fine, that's good. But the president will never ever make a negotiation with terrorists, asking them to bring all of them and keep one of them over there because of religious issue.
That's not what we are saying.
That's not what we are saying.
That's not what we are saying.
Let him land. Land.
It's important to not misquote us.
Yeah, go on, sir, Aliu.
I'm not misquoting you, sir.
No, that's not what we said.
Hold on, Aliu. But let me give you this assurance. Whatever we have said from the beginning is recorded. So
we can play it back.
But that man is saying that. Can I just make my?
Please go on. Make it.
Yeah. What I'm trying to say is that he was saying that they shouldn't have collected those girls without that girl. If I get that right. Did I get that right?
You got it right, yes.
Okay, then if the president or anybody who is negotiating on the behalf of the president negotiated for the president, definitely they will negotiate for all of the girls that was taken away. But when the terrorists were bringing those girls back, no one knew. They never even dropped them in the hands of anybody. They just dropped them in the middle of the town and they whisked away. And definitely, Babajide, if you remember, 3 days ago, even yesterday, you were still deliberating on this same issue, that they came in, that no soldiers were allowed even to pass through that village, so that is going to be a problem if
one of the terms of the agreement.
Operation Free Passage.
So definitely, that man that calls in is saying that because the president is a Muslim.
No, that's not what he said. No, that's not what he said. That's not what he said.
Aliu, I think you must understand this.
All right.
Even the person that called is a Muslim.
That's right.
The person that called didn't say that.
Obviously.
He is saying that the negotiation should have been to secure the release of everybody.
And especially when
please
you
hold
have,
on. We're closing now. Jide, in taking it home, finally, let's not forget the issue of commentaries, our commentaries, especially at this time.
Yes. Well, responsible commentary is what we need. People should also speak from the position of informed people.
Yeah.
People shouldn't just say what they like, but say things that will hold our country together. Our country is going through difficult times. Killings by herdsmen, killings by Boko Haram, death has become so cheap in our country. But at the same time, we must remember that we are one country and we must continue to fight for the unity of our country.
Especially after coming this far.
Yeah, mine is that the president must make sure, as he has promised not to rest it until that gets released. He must work according to that so that we can all applaud him. At least at the end of the day, all the guests, minus the ones who are there, we all get them back. So I wish him luck.
That will just about do it for today. Let me thank you, Charles Ideo, for coming, and Babatunde Kolade. I think to go to the classroom again. I'm sorry.
Don't go to court.
Please don't go to court. Babajide Otitoju. All right then, let's keep our fingers crossed. It's very important what commentary we bring out now, especially at this point in our evolution. We have come through so much, and we are not ready to go to another, for another long trek. That's it on the program for today. Join us next week for another interesting episode. The repeat broadcast of this program is on tonight at 11. On behalf of the Backroom Boys and everybody here, thank you. Enjoy your weekend.